You're ready to join us for some wonderful sessions that we'll be providing this morning with lots of different presenters. So welcome and come on in. We'll wait till everybody gets in and then we'll start our show. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. We're going to let everybody come on in. We still see lots of participants joining us. So we will start in just a moment. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We're still seeing people coming on into our convocation. So we'll give it another 60 seconds or so, and then we'll kick off our morning together. Welcome. Thank you to those of you that are joining us on YouTube. We hope you'll be able to explore all of the wonderful things that Mesa's offering this morning. And there'll also be an opportunity to revisit some of this wonderful work that we're doing this morning. And we have our first question this morning from Professor Fremland. Yes, you are automatically muted. And it's just not you, Rob. We are automatically muting folks just to be able to work together this morning. So as you come on in, just a couple of things. We are going to have folks respond through the Q&A. And so the chat is not open for attendees this morning. I know that drives a few of you nuts, but we do have a lot to share with you this morning, and this is being recorded. So you will have an opportunity to interact with the information after we're done today. Okay, someone's saying our YouTube channel isn't streaming. So just if we can check on that, that would be awesome. So we're going to be mining what you say to us in the Q&A and try to answer them right in the Q&A. And that way we can keep focused on the presentation that's in front of us as we're presenting it. So if we're having a challenge with YouTube, we'll see what we can do to clean that up. All right, well, welcome Mesa Olympians. We're so happy that you're here with us. We're up over 200 participants this morning just on our Zoom. So I imagine there are a few more of you that are trying to get in on our YouTube channel as well. But welcome to the spring 2021 semester. Believe it or not, it is 2021. And here we are moving forward and doing what we need to do to make sure that we gather and get the information we need to kick off another fantastic semester here at Mesa College. We will be making presentations today, but also you'll notice that our convocation is a little shorter today, just from 9 to 10:30. We really felt like your time is always valuable, but we've created both a synchronous and asynchronous opportunity for you to learn some information this morning and in the coming days. And our wonderful loft crew of Janae Johnson and Katie Palacios will be explaining that to you as we move along in our program this morning. If you want to go ahead and move to our agenda, you'll see what we're going to be doing today on the next slide. So we will have some welcomes and some particular updates for you We'll be closing with the most nominations I have ever received for Mesa Olympian Spirit Awards, so stand by for that, and then we will close. So if we can move on to our next slide, we would like to do our land acknowledgement this morning. I acknowledge the land on which we sit and occupy today as the traditional and ancestral home of the Kumeyaay and other indigenous nations, Kahiwa, Cupeño, Luiseño, excuse me, I just got a message on my screen, of the Southwest region and Northern Mexico. Without them, we would not have access to this gathering and to this dialogue. We take this opportunity to thank and honor the original caretakers of this land. As I welcome you this morning, I want to cover just a couple of things. Again, we have so many folks that are going to present to you today, but just a couple of updates. And I hope you will take a look at our first Monday on the Mesa messages as they come out. There's an awful lot of information there. And as always, our chancellor does a marvelous job of communicating what's happening in the big wide world and how it impacts our district. We are, of course, still in this remote operation mode. And we are doing all that we can to support our students and all of us in this community as we work with our students. And so a couple of things. We do have, both at the district level and at the college level, groups of people that are working on how we will return to campus eventually. And so if you've been part of those teams, expect an email soon to reconvene and to continue to talk about how we do that. We will, of course, be following our county guidelines and our state guidelines. In terms of vaccinations, please keep up on that. The next group to be vaccinated are educators. We all qualify as educators, is my understanding. And so as the next tranche of vaccines becomes available, please know that you are likely going to be in a group that can be vaccinated. And I know that there are mixed feelings about vaccinations, but I hope you'll consider that in terms of our return to campus eventually and protecting all of us as we're able to do that. We could go back to the last slide again really quickly, please. Also, just know that we do have help on the way. We have new, what are now called Carissa funds. They were called CARES funds last year. We may have more that's coming as well. We will have more direct money for students, but we will also have more money at the institution. Remember, it's one-time funds that we will be able to put forward in terms of some of the revenue that we may have lost due to COVID and being able to pay our bills, but also be able to continue to support, again, a safe return to campus and the kind of safety measures that we'll want to put into place. We will work through our budgeting committees and make sure that we are as transparent as we can be in terms of how we are hoping to spend those dollars so that we get a broad, inclusive group of individuals to weigh in on how we do that work. Lastly, just for my update, I really want to give thanks to all of you in this community who continue to really go above and beyond. I love to follow some of you on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, showing the kinds of things that you're doing when you're working with students, and whether it's fun TikToks or your Leslie Seeger showing how she's putting kits together from her front yard, you know, or other kinds of spaces and places that you're occupying. I'm grateful for you and the work that you are doing. You are all leading in your own way, and I am grateful for you, and I'm grateful for this community. The message I hope that you will take into your classrooms and counseling offices and financial aid interactions is that we want to be in community with one another. We want to be the community that our students can rely on. And while there are many things that it takes to support a human being, and we can't be all of those things, we can be understanding, humanizing individuals who understand what's going on with our students right now and with one another. I've had the opportunity to talk to several of you who have suffered really serious bouts of COVID, and I'm so thankful that you're recovering. But also there's been a great loss of family members and friends that people have experienced, and there's a lot of grief that's happening. And so I just want to say, be kind to yourself, but know that grief is going to be something that we'll be dealing with for a bit. And how we re-socialize after this, even when we return to campus, is something that I think we'll have to think carefully and thoughtfully about as we start to think about a return to normal. As I wrote in my first Monday message, I believe that the light is starting to peek through the beautiful clouds above us. I believe that all signs say that we are on this path of recovery, and that our resilience has borne out in ways that we probably never imagined. But be kind to yourself, and as your students start to come back to your classes, know that what you're feeling, they're feeling as well. And I really don't have to tell you that. I'm sure you know that, and you're already doing a beautiful job of taking care of them. So thank you. Thank you for your resilience and your work to keep Mesa a community. Our message to students is that they have to drop back. We certainly understand that. We just hope they won't drop out. We want them to stay with us. So thank you for that. All right, we're going to go ahead and move on. We have our wonderful Senate presidents here with us today. And so I am going to move us to that slide, and we are going to start with Academic Senate President Manuel Velez. Manuel.
Thank you so much, Pam. Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to our spring semester. As Pam mentioned, my name is Manuel Velez, and I am currently serving as the president of the Academic Senate. Before I move on, I think it goes without saying that I certainly wish that we would be meeting in person, that we would be able to collaborate and meet openly with each other and have these wonderful conversations that we usually do during our convocations. But of course, the way things are going today and the way things have certainly been going for a while, we find ourselves in this virtual format once again. Regardless, I certainly still am with you in spirit, and I'm very glad to be here this morning presenting on behalf of the Academic Senate. Now, before I move on, I should give you a little warning that I'm feeling a lot of reflection this morning. As I was getting ready to prepare my remarks, I came to the realization that this is actually the last time that I will address the convocation as the Senate president, as this is my last semester in my term. And that certainly made me think a lot about my term as a president. It made me think certainly about what I thought about when I first became president so long ago. It seems like ages ago, and what I imagined the challenges and the focus and the objectives to be at that time. Certainly, I knew we would be discussing things such as guided pathways, enrollment management, distance education. I knew that those would be challenging conversations, and I was looking forward to and ready for those conversations. Of course, as we all know, the challenges that did appear by far outweighed anything that I could have ever expected. Certainly, in no way whatsoever could I have even imagined the things that we wound up having to face. Certainly the pandemic was one that impacted us directly, but the social unrest, I think the political strife, the tensions that we've seen throughout the entire nation, the rise of white supremacy and domestic terrorism, all of these things have weighed on us personally, but I think that they've also weighed on us within our profession. Certainly our students are impacted by these things greatly as well. And these challenges certainly were unexpected and certainly made my term as a president a very, very challenging one as well. However, when I look back, the one thing that I do see above all of these is how we've risen to these challenges. And I am so extremely proud to be a part of a community that came together with the focus on helping our students and in many ways worked together as a community, as a team, in order to ensure that those things were done. I think specifically about Andy McNeil and the LRC and how hard you worked to make sure that our students had those packets and those computers and those other things that were necessary. All of our VPs who have definitely gone above and beyond everything that they've needed to do to ensure, again, that our students are able to attend classes, that those classes are available for our students, that our students are safe, that they have the things that they need as well. And I am so proud to have been a part of all of that process and to represent our faculty as a part of that process as well. Certainly, I'm extremely proud of all of our faculty who have taken to their classrooms, who have gone to their communities, who have worked with their students to also address these issues, to help our students go through these issues, and to find ways so that we as a community can become better through these issues in order to address them and to become a stronger community for our students overall. In the Academic Senate, I'm proud of the work that we've done so far this year. We've created 2 task forces. The first one was the Ethnic Studies Task Force. The second one was the Black Lives Matter Task Force. Both of those task forces have been working diligently throughout the fall semester and throughout the break as well. The Ethnic Studies Task Force has done some amazing work, both locally, regionally, and on the statewide level in regards to ethnic studies. And the BLM Task Force has been working hard already to write a letter in support of Constance Carroll and condemning hateful letters that were written to her. Our Senate has also worked very hard to pass several resolutions that supported ethnic studies, that condemned misogynistic and hurtful language, and that supported our students in all ways possible. And in all these things, again, I am very proud to have been a part of. These were not easy conversations. These were certainly difficult processes to go through, but I believe that they were necessary and that we ultimately came up with the right decisions and that we are ultimately making our college better for our students. So I'm looking forward to the spring semester. I know that we still have many challenges ahead of us, but as Pam mentioned, I also feel that we are finally seeing a light at the end of the tunnel. I'm hoping that this semester will begin to see better things for us, and I certainly am hoping that this semester will bring better things for you as well at a personal level. So once again, on behalf of the Academic Senate, welcome back to the spring semester. I look forward very much to working with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Manuel. And now on to Charlie Liu, the president of our Classified Senate.
Thank you, Pam, and thank you, Manuel. Hello, everyone. My name is Charlie Liu. I'm the current Classified Senate president at Mesa College. On behalf of the Classified Senate, I just want to welcome everyone to Spring Convocation. I hope everyone had a chance to relax, recharge, and reflect over the winter break. I too want to start off by announcing that this is my last semester as a Classified Senate president. As I wrap up my 2-year term, it has been a pleasure and an honor to serve as the Mesa Classified Senate president. Thank you for entrusting me with this important duty of being the representative and the voice for classified professionals. When I took on this role, my hope was just to continue the wonderful work that Trina Larson, our last president, started, creating a space and a voice for classified professionals on our campus, in our district, and also to highlight all the great work that classified professionals do. I'm very proud of the Senate and all that we were able to accomplish over these last 2 years, such as our Resiliency Fund Free Throw Challenge, our community service activities, our name badge initiative, our professional learning incentive, our Classified Hacks workshop series, and all the wonderful collaborations we were able to make with different campus groups, such as the Academic Senate, the Associated Students, Mesa Foundation, the Student Success and Equity, Mesa Pathways, the Loft, and AFT. While the work at times was challenging, like Manuel said, and overwhelming, it was necessary work. And at the end of the day, to me, it's not work when you know your why and you know your mission, and your mission is your passion. Speaking of work and speaking of passion, our work in higher education is more important now than ever, as we have seen in the event at the Capitol and the continual racial inequalities that continue to happen in our nation and even in our community. We have to take on this work of equity with a sense of urgency, because right now our students need us more than ever. No matter what role you play on campus, whether you're a classified professional, whether you're serving students or teaching a class, or you're a member of our facilities team, I urge you to continue to equip yourself with tools and strategies to be more equitable and mindful. And I just love our mosaic theme that we're using for convocation. Well, we're all different colors, shapes, and sizes. We're all coming together to make something beautiful. And that's to empower our students and to make and help them succeed. So in closing, I want to wish everyone a very productive and safe spring term. Continue to take care of yourself and each other. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Charlie. Thank you for your leadership. All right. Last but never least, Taylor Carpenter, our president of Associated Students.
Hello, thank you so much, Pam. Hello, thank you for being here. For those of you who are not familiar with me, I am Taylor Carpenter, and I am the outgoing president of the Associated Students. Yes, my reign has come to an end. This is my last semester as your president, and it has truly been an honor. The pandemic hit us all like a tidal wave that we never saw coming, having many ripple effects on all of our lives. The associated students have continued to stand strong in the midst of the storm alongside so many of you. We held on to each other and we were not pushed down and out. And that is how we will continue to brave these uncharted waters and tidal waves to come in 2021 together. Thank you to those of you who listen, truly, authentically listen to your students, for making sure we don't feel like we are all alone, drowning in a sea of stress and loneliness. The Associated Students is looking forward to continued collaboration through our shared governance process and many projects and initiatives to better support and serve our students. We are resilient, we are Mesa, and we got this. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Taylor. Goodness gracious, all three of our Senate presidents have served with just wonderful fidelity, and I look forward to this semester of being yet another one of progress and purpose, and I appreciate your leadership so very much. As Charlie mentioned, what we've designed today for you is a mosaic of learning, an opportunity in the next hour and a half to hear from people on campus doing various pieces of work, but really we are focused in even more so on our work around racial inequality, and in particular the work that we started at the beginning of the year in terms of our response to the call to action and response to anti-Blackness. So you'll be hearing some of that today. We also are hoping that as you take part in these learning tiles that are part of the mosaic, that we will have a better understanding of one another and how we can increase and have our own call to action, our own sense of agency that all three of our Senate presidents just talked about, this idea of being focused in on our work in equity, and equity not just being a word, but a verb. And so I am excited to work with you all in that way in earnest. So the first piece of the learning tile this morning that you'll see is an update on our beautiful Mesa 2030 plan. And for that, we're going to go to Lorenz Legaspi and Bridget Herron.
Good morning, mabuhay, and welcome. My name is Lorenz Legaspi. I'm the proud Vice President of Administrative Services for San Diego Mesa College, and also one of two co-chairs for Mesa 2030, our Educational Facilities Master Plan, and as we are visioning 10 more years as a leading college of equity and excellence. Next slide, please. So there's plenty of information as we've been working on this project on our master planning for more than 2 years now. And so you can go, if you can scan this QR code and go to the Mesa 2030 website, all of our resources will be there. And also this presentation will be posted as part of our mosaic as well. Next slide. So again, the purpose of Mesa 2030 is our long-range 10-year educational and facilities master plan. And you can read the purpose of it. And again, this is 2 years in the making. And so we really want to make sure that we're getting in front of everybody and getting their input as we go. Next slide, please. So here are the task force representatives. Each constituency, each department has representatives on this group. And so if you want to know more about Mesa 2030, feel free to reach out to myself, and also you have a representative on the task force. And thank you to the task force for your work on this. It's the home stretch for this semester, and we're going to be there at the end with the full plan as we worked very hard on this for the last couple semesters. Next slide, please. And beyond the task force too, working with our consultants, we've held a myriad of departmental interviews, campus forums. We've presented at each convocation since the beginning of the task force and beginning of this project. And so I want to thank you, the campus, for all the input, at the various levels, from the PCAB retreats to convocation participation, from departmental interviews. We have all put a lot of time and effort into this. And so beyond the task force, thank you. Next slide, please. And I would like to pass it over to the other co-chair of Mesa 2030, Dr. Bridget Herron.
Thank you, Lorenz. And as Lorenz mentioned, we have worked with the task force for the last 2 years and received hundreds of pieces of input from across campus. And ultimately, many of you have seen this before, but just wanted to remind everyone once again, we have reached a draft of our 5 goals, which will serve as a framework for our long-term planning. The 5 goals fall under these 5 categories, and you can see the full text of these goals in the Mesa Convocation Mosaic. We, again, as Lorenz mentioned, we have 4 short vignettes that are also a copy of this presentation and go into a little bit more detail. So our 5 areas: completion, community, pathways and partnerships, stewardship, and scholarship. Next slide, please.
All of these, the previous goals, and then this is our facilities planning principles, are under the meta goal of equity and excellence. As our president mentioned, our focus of our college, equity and excellence, is the umbrella term for and the umbrella goal for everything that we do. And so this slide is about our facilities planning principles. There just happens to be 5 principles. They're not directly tied to each goal, but each goal will be able to be seen within each of the planning principles as we move forward. Again, this is just the master planning side of the facilities portion. And so there are no plans yet for construction as we look to later how we receive funding and get funding, and then more detailed planning. But initially, the first goals are student-centered, to make sure that we have a welcoming environment, that the campus feels connected, that we are a community asset, and then we are good stewards of our resources. And as Dr. Heron mentioned, in the mosaic tiles, you'll see us go into more detail for each of these areas. Next slide, please. Also, too, with these planning principles, we have an opportunity as a task force and with certain groups on campus to make sure that we have a dream and a vision for a broad layout of what campus could look like moving forward, because there are definitely the haves and have-nots. English, I see you. And so we want to have enough facilities and the proper facilities, athletics as well, and the performing arts, to make sure that our facilities match the programs that we have. And so you'll see some big blocks of what potential planning could look like on campus, and also some very creative facility usage of looking at the hillside to make sure that we can fit and accommodate each of the programs on campus that we have correctly.
So where do we go from here? As Lorenz mentioned, we are working through this final semester of the Mesa 2030 plan. And ultimately, as I mentioned earlier, this framework for planning for our educational plan with the 5 goals, as well as our framework for our facilities planning, will feed into other planning processes at Mesa College. So you can see here, the Mesa 2030 plan, again, is long-term visionary goals. They're high-level principles for future development. This will support and create a framework for the development of our strategic plan, which the Planning and Institutional Effectiveness Committee will take on this semester. And the strategic plan will be more actionable, measurable objectives, and will identify needs, resources, timelines, and strategies for reaching those long-term goals. And then those will also feed our annual processes. We've had a reprieve from program review this year, but we will obviously be picking that up again. And the program review framework will also align with those Mesa 2030 goals, as well as our resource allocation processes. We'll develop a template to look at updates regarding progress towards goals, and all of it will link to the strategic plan and ultimately up to Mesa 2030. Next slide. And finally, again, as we mentioned, this is our updated timeline. I know many of you have seen this. Originally, the plan was to have this complete in the fall of 2020. With the campus closure due to COVID, we've extended our timeline out through May. And you can see here we have a plan, a detailed plan that will get us through the completion of the Mesa 2030 plan, including approval, going through all of our local approval processes as well as board approval by May 2021. And I think that's our last slide for Mesa 2030. I just want to remind everyone one more time that everything you're seeing here is covered in more detail at the Mosaic page, and you can check out our Mesa 2030 website. Thank you.
Thank you, Bridget and Lorenz. And that will be a theme that you will hear throughout this morning's time, is that if you want to know more about all of the things that you're seeing this morning, there are opportunities where you're going to be able to do that within your own time frame. Next up, I'd like to introduce Dr. Isabel O'Connor, who will take us through our Pathways work. And Isabel, thank you for your leadership, and let's introduce our Pathways presenters along with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pam. Isabel O'Connor, Vice President of Instruction. Buenos días a todos y a todas. It is my pleasure today to introduce not only the tri-coordinators, but some other members of the Mesa Pathways work. So that is Howard Eskew, Tony Parsons, Marisa Liotto, and we are joined by Ian Duckles and Cynthia Rico. As you can see on the slide, Mesa Pathways continues to work very hard across the campus from every constituent group in building what Mesa Pathways could look like for Mesa. So we have a lot of activity that continues even in the remote setting. You can visit our website and find out about all the amazing projects that are going across campus going on, and the timing for all these committee meetings and so forth. As Pam mentioned, we also yesterday did a Meta Majors activity. It was very well attended, and I thought it went really, really well. We learned a lot. We started down this road of building the Meta Majors, and the whole recording of that workshop is part of the Mosaic, so you can actually check it out asynchronously as well. For today, as you can see in this plethora of presenters, next slide, we want to share with you a little bit of what we learned yesterday and the work we started with the campus community. But before we do that, I can't pass the opportunity to really say congratulations. I want to acknowledge the leadership of Trina Larson, who had this idea of building what we call the Fellows team, a group of students who are now lending the student voice and perspective to the Pathways work. And under Trina's leadership, we applied for a student engagement innovation grant provided by the Foundation for California Community Colleges, and we got it. We got $5,000 award to spend on adding additional aspects to the fellows' engagement with Pathways. So we start tomorrow, January 29th, with an orientation for all grant recipients. We'll be there and look forward to the great product of injecting the student voice and perspective alongside with ours. I am going to pass it on to Tony and Howard. Tony's going to give us a summary of what the amazing work that happened yesterday, and then Ian, and Ian at the end will tell us next step. So next slide, Tony.
Thank you, Isabel. So yesterday's activity, thank you to the 80 plus who attended and were really, really active and engaged in what we were in our first conversation of meta majors. So the first part of the activity that we did was a jam board. And when you watch the video that is available in the Mosaic, the recording, we talked about what are the benefits of having meta majors, and then what are some of the concerns. So first, some of the themes that came up as the benefits for having meta majors was guidance and clarity for students, creates a community for students. I'm gonna let you read those. I wanna give a little bit of what we're talking about. Currently, our campus, Mesa, offers 191 different degrees and certificates, 131 degrees alone, associate's degrees. And the idea of meta majors is, instead of having students try to scroll through 191 different options, is there a way to organize those degrees and certificates in a meaningful way that connects to students' passions and interests? And so that was where that conversation was going. And so it's really just a way to be clearer about what we do offer to our students without having it look like, you know, quite frankly, a giant catalog that they have to go through. So some of the benefits that were recognized by the attendees yesterday include equity, helping students explore and plan, and linking education with real world application. Next slide, please. Some of the concerns that came up, and we addressed them yesterday, again, if you watch the recording, and we will continue to address these concerns because the concerns are valid. How do we funding to support success teams? So one of the linkages between meta majors and pathways is building that community, and some of that community could be success teams, teams of campus staff, faculty, classified professionals, students, counselors, everything that support these meta majors. So how are we going to fund that specifically, institutionalized funding? There was concern about misalignment, possible misalignment with our sister colleges, something that we certainly have to address. Miramar has developed their meta major, so that's certainly a place that we can look at and start. Assuring that this actually is clear for students. And there was concern for the lack of broad agreement that this is actually beneficial. So more conversations there on how this can be beneficial for students, and a concern that some disciplines may be left out. So that is something that we definitely have to keep at the forefront and make sure that that does not happen. Next slide, please. So this is an example. So the second activity involved a Google Slides activity in breakout rooms. And there were 6 questions. I know these all got numbered 1 after a while. That's funny. But anyways, there were 6 questions that we asked each breakout room to address, again, as an initial start of what this meta majors looks like. And so this is an example. I just pulled one of the slides out. We had 13 breakout rooms. So we have 13 slides of information that we have to cipher through and look for those themes and start piecing together what this really does look like for Mesa. But I just wanted to give you an example of the activity that the breakout rooms did yesterday. This was during yesterday's activity. Next slide, please. And I'll pass it on to Ian, who will describe the next timeline.
Great, thank you. So welcome everyone. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to speak. So as Tony was indicating, our activity yesterday was really kind of the start of this discussion. And so we do want to kind of continue to talk about this and get your feedback and get your input as we design this meta majors framework, or in fact, input even on what we're going to call it. We certainly do not want to be imposing a framework on the college. We want a framework that the college decides works best for it. And so to that end, we've organized a series of, we're calling them Mesa Mixers Meta Major Explorations. They'll be an hour and a half each, and we're going to be kind of running them weekly starting mid-February all the way through the end of March. And so these will obviously be over Zoom, and there'll be opportunities for you to kind of participate in this conversation and help us shape and design this framework. So you see the dates there, but you'll be receiving emails. It'll be, all this information will be posted on the website. And we really encourage you to come to these mixers so that your voice can be heard, so that you can participate and contribute to this process. And there will be some kind of compensation for participants. We're still working out the final details, but we will be able to compensate you a little bit for your time for this work. And it is really important work, and we really do need everyone's voice involved. The goal of this is to come up with a framework or some frameworks that we can roll out to the college. We hope to do that by the end of March, beginning of April. And then in April, we'll actually select the framework that we want to use going forward at Mesa. We'll be refining that kind of the end of April, beginning of May. And then the goal is to have a framework in place by the end of this semester. It is an ambitious goal, but I think we are well positioned to do it. But we really do need your input, your feedback, and your participation. And again, these mixers that we've organized are the primary venue for you to do that. So you'll be hearing more about this, so kind of keep your eyes open on your email as we publicize these. And I look forward to seeing you guys there. So thank you very much. That's it for me.
So I just want to add again, the recording from yesterday's activity is on the Mosaic. And even though the idea of meta majors is a central part of what we're doing this semester, Pathways is working on many different things. We have 5 work groups now, and all that information can be found on the Mesa Pathways website. And so I encourage you to check that out as well for more ways to get involved. And you can always contact your leadership team of myself, Howard Eskew, and Marisa Alioto if you have any more questions. Thank you very much from Pathways.
Thank you so much to our Pathways team. We so appreciate all the work that you're doing, and thank you for your leadership. I got to attend for most of it yesterday, and it was a fun activity to be generative and thoughtful about how we do this work. So thank you. All right, we are now going to move into our call to action in terms of racial inequality and a focus on anti-Blackness. And Dr. Ashanti Hands is our leader today on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Pamela. Good morning, everyone. So excited to see everyone in this space and to be talking about our call to action. So the nation's most recent call was a direct response to the spark felt around the world by the senseless murder of George Floyd on May 25th. In June 2020, Chancellor Oakley, our own system chancellor, said that our system and our students are hurting, and they are outraged because of the systemic racial injustices that still exist in our country. In this moment, we need to use our positions of privilege, influence, and power to make a difference, to actively strategize and take action against structural racism. Next slide. This moment in time was also an opportunity to honor the legacy of John Lewis. And with his passing, we were reminded that we should never, ever be afraid to make some noise and get in good trouble, necessary trouble. So as we often do at Mesa College, we met that moment and committed to turning it into a movement, a steady flow of education, knowledge, dialogue, a review and revision of policies, the creation and implementation of new structures, and we are holding ourselves accountable for how we respond to racial inequalities with the focus on anti-Blackness. Next slide. I'd like to highlight a few of the many ways that we have put our plans and words into actions and are creating incredible opportunities for us as colleagues and in particular for our students. Next slide. One of the first things that we did was under the leadership of President Lester, Mesa College partnered with over 60 community colleges to participate in the California Community College Equity Leadership Alliance. So each month, 5 members of our community are able to attend a 3-hour e-convening that is sponsored by the Center for Urban Education that equips us with tools and resources to enact change on our campus. Our partnership will also allow us to be able to participate in 3 climate surveys, and all of this learning will be made available to our community free of charge via a portal. So we have created a website and we'll be sending a link to the campus community today. And that portal right now includes most recent activities and workshops, but all of those things that you see listed on the screen, there will be a video recording and materials available to each of the campuses. Next slide. In addition, we created a Black Lives Matter research guide, and this was created by our librarians. And this was designed to help students, faculty, and community who are researching the Black Lives Matter movement. The site includes instructor resources, videos, and so much more. So we encourage you all to visit the site, and I'll be dropping these links in our Q&A shortly. Next slide. We also created a Black Lives Matter resource page. This page includes links to health services, professional development through the Loft, our equity partnerships, and so much more. We want to make sure that you all, again, have tools and resources at your fingertips to enact change on campus. Next slide. Student services departments responded to the call by establishing goals that were designed to remove barriers and create clearer paths for Black students to succeed at Mesa College. So we have over 20 goals in the areas of marketing, increased participation, engagement, professional development, and the intentional removal of barriers for students. We are including updates on our efforts in our monthly updates, and we are reporting on our efforts at each of our monthly Mesa Student Services Council meetings. So we encourage you to check out the page that talks about the specific goals. And then this infographic, of course, just lets you know how it is that those goals are categorized. Next slide. Administrative Services is also doing anti-racism work. This year, they're focusing on centering Black voices and experiences and having conversations with peers about learning and self-reflection. So in fall, they established the foundation for the work through education and facilitation from a group called SHIFT. And SHIFT has a focus on social justice at the center of what it is that they do. And they provide active, embodied, and dialogue-based presentations and workshops that our administrative services have been participating in. This spring, they're going to continue the call to action and review procedures and ensure that they are intentionally anti-racist in their work. Next slide. Associated students joined Mental Health Services to host a healing circle, which gave students the opportunity in a safe space to share their feelings and experiences surrounding systemic racism, personal experiences, and the current political climate. So during spring semester, they will continue to have these safe space and conversations. Next slide. Propelled by Protest was an initiative that was launched this fall. So this spring, two of our own students, Princetta Reedus and Tyrell Williams, will be joined by other students and leading monthly sessions to empower their fellow students. Flyers are forthcoming. You'll see some of the topics on the screen. And one of the things that we're very excited about is that the t-shirts that you see on the screen are going to be sold to employees. And then hopefully we're going to make those shirts available for student participants at no cost. So please keep your eyes open for the emails about more information about what our students are doing and how they have been propelled by protest. Next slide. We have all heard about the excellent work that our classified professionals are doing. It's called a classified calling into action. And again, they are having amazing conversations about ideas, practices, and steps to create a more equitable and anti-racist institution of higher learning and education. And they are doing this wonderfully. Emails are sent out to the campus. Everyone has the opportunity to participate and engage this calling into action. Next slide. So as Manuel stated, Senate has also taken a stance. They have written letters in support of Chancellor Carroll. They have written resolutions, and they will be making recommendations to the Senate on specific ways that they can act. Next slide. So this is how Mesa in general has responded. Now you're going to hear from your colleagues about ways that they have actually responded to the call.
One of the things that I see as an educator is that we always reach out to our community. The community that we serve, and Mesa does that. You know, we are very aware of the students that we serve, the type of population and their needs.
So as the leading college of equity and excellence, we want you to come as you are because we know that is the fabric of our institution. So we want you to challenge us to be better for you, and we can only do that by you being here with us.
Hi, my name is Allison Gerganis. I'm the Online Services and Instruction Librarian here at Mesa College. One of the ways I've recently responded to a call to action for equity is to add a Hot Topics tab to our Black Lives Matter research guide to help keep our community up to date with some of the major effects this very important movement is having on our world today. I look forward to learning about how you were called to act for equity.
Hi, my name is Adama Onwuchekwa, and I am the Equity and Engagement Librarian in Mesa College. In the wake of the pandemic and limited access to information resources, one of the ways I responded to our call to action towards equity was to intentionally create open research sessions and communication avenues to help students have access to library resources and promote student success. I look forward to learning about how you respond to our call to action towards equity. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Cloris Johnson, and I'm a co-chair of the Equity Task Force. We responded to the call of action by implementing Next Steps, a classified call to action, which is an anti-racist social justice forum that takes place twice a month. Next Steps is a safe and brave space for classified professionals to have challenging conversations and discuss social justice topics. I look forward to hearing how you were called to act for equity. Thank you.
Hello, Larry Maxey here, Dean of Student Success and Equity. Our response to the call of action was to call every single Black student who dropped out last semester. And from that action, we have some very positive response and feedback. I look forward to hearing how you responded to the call for action.
Next slide. So what's up on the screen is our definition of equity. Our response to the call to action is rooted in our vision of becoming the leading college of equity and excellence. And so what you just heard from our colleagues are individuals who have used their privilege and their passion to breathe life into our equity definition and our call to action. They speak to their work and efforts as being fundamental to who we are. They're focused on creating space for access and support for minoritized groups, in particular Black students. They are doing things that will set students up for success. They are doing this through inquiry and data-informed decision-making. They are having difficult conversations with skill and humility. They are introducing new interventions with equity, with an equity lens, and they are illuminating, disrupting, dismantling, and creating new spaces. Good trouble, necessary trouble. Next slide. So what are you called to do? How are you called to act during this time? Amanda Gorman reminded us that while we have our eyes on the future, history has its eyes on us. So while we think about the world that we want to create for our students, that future is looking at us and is asking us, what are we called to do? How will we say that we responded to this moment in time and turned it from a moment to a movement to create conditions that matter for our students to succeed? So what you will see is a link on the screen, and I'm going to drop it. Should I drop it in the chat is disabled, right? So would I put it in the Q&A? Oh, links can be sent over to chat. Thank you, you guys are so quick. So what I'm gonna do is pop this in the chat. And what I would encourage you all to do is click that link and share one action step that you will or that you have taken to address racial inequality with a focus on anti-Blackness at Mesa College. We have moved from the various stages of looking at how this means to us as individuals. We are focused on what this means interpersonally, and now it is time for us to shift into the phase where this becomes institutional and structural changes for us, and that we are holding each other accountable to who we say we are and to who we say that we want to be. So please go to that Padlet, insert your information, make your steps known to our students and to our campus. And so again, we thank you all for heeding the call. We know that these are just a few examples that are taking place in our classrooms as we work with students in our spaces. And so we want to see more, and we want to hold ourselves accountable. So thank you, Pam.
Thank you so much, Ashanti, for that. And thank you to all of you who have answered the call. We look forward to seeing your responses. So you've been hearing all morning about this mysterious convocation mosaic. So we're about to demystify it for you. We hope we've created some sort of buzz. What we wanted to do this morning was to do what we've been asking all of you to do, which is to really use the time that we're together, the synchronous time that we have together, to highlight those kinds of things that we want to learn when we're sharing space, but also to provide the opportunity for you to do asynchronous learning, to be able to, once you do whatever you do in the evenings or early mornings or when you're working out or whatever that looks like for you, that you'd have the opportunity to learn more. So my thanks to the Loft crew who always step up when I have these kind of crazy ideas. And again, this whole thing is not my idea, but when I bring up these kinds of things, they're only too happy to say, let's see how we can do this. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Katie Palacios and Dr. Janae Johnson to show us our beautiful convocation mosaic. Thank you.
Thank you, President Pam. Hi, everyone. I'm Janae Johnson, and I just wanted to share this wonderful site. First and foremost, I just want to thank all of the different participants in the convocation planning group, and also a shout out to Katie, who did a lot of work on sharing her creative spirit with us and then designing the site, and then all the contributors that took the time to build out some of the information so that we could add it to the site for you to review. So Katie dropped the link in the chat, which is a short link to go to bit.ly Mesa Convo SP21. So all we want you to do is just take a moment to just go to the site and look it over, make sure you add how you're feeling that day. If you go today or whatever day you go, make sure you add. And if we can go to the next slide. Oh, and so there's the arrow. How are you feeling today? And so I hope you all are feeling well. And then the next slide. So once you get to the site, you will see that there's 3 different areas. So there's the welcome page, the Mesa's Convocation Mosaic, and then take action. And then when you access that take action, you will see a drop-down list of all the different actions that were taken, taken by some of our colleagues at Mesa, and then they contributed to the tiles. So then you'll have a chance to look in depth at some of the things that were done. And there's several tiles, so you have a lot of time to just, as Pam mentioned, to just look at it in your own time. I'm confusing synchronous and asynchronous. In your own time to enjoy some of the things that you see. The Hill We Climb, dance had a wonderful thing that they put on there. We have some self-care, ethnic studies. So there's a lot of things for you to look at. And so with that said, I just want to pass it to Katie, who will share some information about how the Padlet works that Ashanti mentioned, and that is also now in the chat. So if we can go to the next slide. Thank you.
Yeah, so I'm already seeing stuff getting added to the Padlets that are out there. That's kind of fun to see you guys start to add stuff. The call to action Padlet, all the Padlets are going to kind of work the same once you're on there, and we're not going to share them live on the screen that you're seeing now. So if you have a browser open where you're in the Padlets, you'll start seeing stuff get added. But you can just double click the Padlet space, or there's a plus button on the Padlet that you can add your own call to action to how are you called to act response to the call to action. You'll find more than one Padlet on the website. We went a little Padlet crazy, so you'll definitely get some Padlet practice in this activity. And we thought maybe, Pam, if there's time, I don't know, we thought maybe we could do a gratitude shout out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We have time.
So that's what this slide kind of directs you to. There's a gratitude page of the mosaic. So you can get to it either because you're already on the mosaic page, or if you're not there yet, you'll see the shortcut to it at the bottom of the slide there. It takes you straight to gratitude. And you will see, oh, I see them coming in already. It's kind of exciting. So I added a shout out to Catalyst presenters because Catalyst was this week, and I wanted to just recognize how awesome they were. But maybe if we just sit in, I know it feels weird to be silent on Zoom, but I would be okay with maybe I'm just going to be quiet for a second and give people a little bit of time to add a gratitude shout out to the Padlet. We can't do it here in chat because we know about chat being disabled, but I would love to just see a few. Yes, there's lots of them coming in, so I will be quiet for a second. Shouting out EOPS, shouting out counseling. Hi, Tony, I see you. Veronica, Adiyama. Oh, this is lovely. Thank you all for jumping in there. Peer navigators, Simone, Christina Crosby. I will not be able to name everybody, but this is just really fun to do a live Padlet with 300 people, and some of whom are on YouTube and might not even be Mesa people. So that's exciting. So the good news about this is that this can continue even after the Zoom session ends. And this is just one of the ways to participate in that mosaic. So please continue shouting out. Please continue exploring the mosaic. And the other mention here is that we are incentivizing this. So on March 1st, Loft is going to do an opportunity drawing with the folks who have participated. So there's actually a form at the bottom of the Take Action column of the website that just says, hey, submit the form in order to be entered into that opportunity drawing. So all of you who are doing the gratitude shout out right now can already submit that form. But wait and do the other things too, and then submit it. And then on March 1st, we'll probably send an email out to the DL. I think we have a couple winners. We will maybe do 2 winners. I don't know. I'm gonna let Janae and Jennifer handle that. I feel like I'm missing something. Oh, and if you want to add a tile to the mosaic, because I see Pam nodding, so I was remembering that. If you want to add a tile to the mosaic, because this mosaic is building and growing, and we know there's lots of tiles that are not in the website yet. On the homepage, there is another Padlet where you can add your tile as kind of an immediate way to add your tile to the Padlet, to the mosaic. And then what we can do is Janae and I will work to actually create a page for your tile. If you also have an activity or something that you want to get input from the community. So yes, the mosaic is just a snapshot of what it looks like right now, but this is something that can evolve and grow and will continue to over time. So we look forward to you participating in that way as well. Janae, if I've forgotten anything, and I'm sure I have.
Oh, you did great. Yes, so there will be an opportunity drawing March 1st. So you have from now until March 1st to upload your information, and the Loft will send out a detailed email about how you can add a tile if you want to add a tile. But the Padlets are open, so anything that you want to just contribute to any of the Padlets is just whenever you decide to submit it, you can. But if you want an actual tile, we'll send out information on how to do that. And then make sure you submit the opportunity drawing form before March 1st, so that we get, so we can pick 2. That's what we decided, but maybe we can expand it. We'll have to ask Lorenz and President Pam, and so we'll see. So thank you. That's it for us.
No pressure. Thank you so much for showing us this. I wonder just really quickly if we could go back a slide so that folks can see the kinds of things that are already available. I'd like to point out one, the session on insurrection at the Capitol that was done so beautifully by the Community College Equity Assessment Lab last week. Cecile, Dr. Luke Wood, Frank Harris just did a fantastic job. There's so much already to offer, and so please take a look. I'd also like to point out the ethnic studies information that's available. It is a treasure trove of information that was beautifully put together by our faculty. Thank you to Manuel and to Cesar and to Candace and to Kima for your beautiful work, because as we know, we have the new requirement under ethnic studies, which is so exciting. And they go into a great deal about how we do that. So there's so many wonderful opportunities to interact. And again, giving you the flexibility to asynchronously do that when you have time to do so. So thank you to Janae and to Katie and to everyone who's putting all the work into doing this. And we hope you'll add a tile. because as you know, the more tiles in the mosaic, the more beautiful the picture. So thank you. All righty, we are going to move on to our Mesa Olympian Spirit Awards. And as I said, this is the largest group of nominations that we've had. And it was really heartening to know that even though we're not right here together, that you are all recognizing the tremendous support that you're getting from your colleagues as we wend our way through. So I apologize for looking down, but this is a lengthy list. And so as you know, the wonderful thing that our folks will receive are our beautiful Olympian Spirit Awards. I wanted to let you know that we actually nominated our chancellor for an Olympian Spirit Award. This is her last semester in terms of being our wonderful chancellor. And so I will be doing a Zoom call with her to present her with this, and then we will publish that so that you can all see that. So I am going to start out by nominating 3 folks that need no introduction. So congratulations to Tina Ricaldi, Monica Romero, and Leslie Shimazaki, 3 deans who did not hesitate for a minute to answer the call of duty. They rose to the challenge of leading not just 1 school, but 2, and they've done so with grace and integrity. Thank you. Also to our wonderful IT friends, Tony Lowe and Alex Napoli. Oh my gosh. I don't know if you've talked to them as many times as I have. These gentlemen have been very busy and they've done an amazing job helping us provide remote access and tech support as we've gone along. Thank you so much for doing that. Patty Garcia for her continued support of instruction and problem-solving skills and the disbursement of our CARES Act funds has been remarkable. Thank you, Patty, for your work. Kathy Palestini, you can imagine what the work it has been to try and scan all of the, I think we're close to 80 files, Kathy would know better, for doing the coordination of all of our aspects of the faculty evaluation process amid all the other work that she does. You confronted every challenge and we've sailed through the process. Thank you, Kathy, for that. Also nominated Michael Davis in Technology Services for his behind-the-scenes support for all of us. And we thank you, Michael, for that wonderful work. Also Marco Chavez for his work in keeping us moving remotely. There's a lot of paperwork that happens behind the scenes to keep all of us working together. So Marco, thank you for that. Also nominated are the group of individuals who came together to try to help our students navigate distance education. So to our distance ed student work group, thank you to Eileen Crakes, Charlie Liu, Sean Fawcett, Sharon Hughes, Claudia Strada Howell, Mark Manassi, Monica ×2, Monica Romero, Katie Palacios, Leticia Diaz, and Augustine Rivera, and Carla Trutna. Thank you so much for your work in this. And the online and student resources website is up and available, and I'm sure you'll all be using it to help your students navigate your courses. Also nominated are wonderful Mesa College Ethnic Studies Task Force. I was just talking about some of them. Cesar Lopez, Takima Mayasa, Manuel Velez, Candace Katunji, and Juliet Parker. Thank you for your work, both at Mesa, but also in our statewide work to make sure that we get moving to get those courses that are in place and all the requirements ready for our students. Thank you too to the Student Services Motivation and Morale Committee, also known as M&M in Student Services. They've kept morale high by doing fun events, Viva workshops, doing yoga flow, creeping at real Halloween events, Friendsgiving mix and mingles, and all sorts of ways to keep people engaged. Thank you to Elizabeth Jones, Andrew Tanquajillo, Zulma Heraldez, Duran, Pahua Vang, and Amara Tang. Thank you. All 5 of you will be getting your Mesa Olympian Spirit Awards. Also nominated is our wonderful transfer counselor, Ann Hedekin. Ann, fabulous job in a remote environment, getting so many of our students ready for transfer in the fall semester. We know that the whole transfer team works well, but Ann, thank you for your leadership. Also nominated, our faculty member in fashion, Jordan Smiley. Jordan has done an amazing job of putting together kits for our fashion students so that they can do at home what they would normally do in our beautiful state-of-the-art labs. I can attest to this. The times that I've been on campus, many times you will see Jordan sitting under a white Mesa College tent, working with students in a safe distance, masked way to pick up their supplies. Also this semester, we started our Olympian pilot program, and we did something new this time to keep our athletes engaged and created what's called the athletic retention technicians. These are individuals who came in and were trained in ways that we could retain our athletes. And so all of our ARTs, and I'm going to read their names in a minute, I'd also like to include Ryan Shoemaker in this, because Ryan and Eileen Crakes both have led this effort, created and designed the process, and it's been really remarkable. And so I am excited to give our Olympian Spirit Awards to Kareth Herron, Hector Sanchez, Chris Boudreau, Taylor Januser, I hope I didn't butcher that name, Mike Chevalier, also known as Chevy, Rob Hartenfels, Jermaine McDonald, Talib Mahdi, Wes Williams, Jim Partridge, Matthew Beckstead, Jake Portugal, Tyler Hazlett, Marcus Rosser, Jeff Kuo, and Paul Foltz. Thank you for stepping forward to support our athletes. Also nominated is Ian Bassett for his outstanding work in the music department and our weekly recital hour that has continued on through thick and thin. So thank you, Ian, for your work. Also nominated is Vincent Lee in IT, and it's nominated by a couple of faculty members who describe themselves as Luddites, but now have seen their way forward to make sure that to work with their students. And so thank you, Vin, for doing that. We had a second nomination also for Jordan Smiley for her kits. And so Jordan, you might just get 2 of those medals coming your way. Also separately nominated is Mark Manassi for the beautiful work that he has done along with our MT2C crew to continue working through all of the issues that our students have around tutoring. And so thank you to Mark for your leadership, and congratulations on this award. Also nominated Anastasia Doan for her work as an athletic trainer in exercise science and working with student mental health to develop and deliver a mental health protocol for coaches, faculty, and staff in the School of Exercise Science, Dance, Health, and Athletics. Also nominated, Brittany Williams, our Allied Health ILT. She's done an amazing job. As you probably know, a number of our Allied Health courses have still been meeting in a socially distanced fashion on our campus, and she has coordinated a lot of those return to campus and really spent hours building the protocols that help keep our students safe. Also nominated is Rachel Russell, lead faculty from GIS. Working with Rachel, her nominator Kelly Spoon says that with Mesa Buddies and Distance Ed Committee, you, Rachel, always show up to do work that really contributes to the meaningful ideas that have been able to be incorporated in this work. So congratulations, Rachel, on that. One of our wonderful district partners is Deborah Pacu. Deborah works and does all of our parking work. And while it may not seem like we have a lot of parking issues right now, Deborah has been a tremendous support to us for many, many years. And over the last 10 months, she helped us map out our drive-through graduation, our farmers market. We've had to have rain plans for farmers market. For our farmers market, she's worked really hard to help students with parking fines. And Deborah has just been a pleasure to work with for many years. So Deborah, thank you for all of your hard work. Also nominated is Dr. Michelle Rodriguez, a professor of political science. She has done remarkable work in terms of taking over Constitution Day and our Canvas module for that. She worked to bring the Cal Law Scholar Pathway to Law School program to Mesa College. So thank you so much for your work, Michelle. Also nominated, Anthony Alfuente and Nathan Tallow in student accounting. They have done a remarkable job. Our lead, Lynn Lasco, has been working with the District for Campus Solutions for several years now. And so Nathan and Anthony have really stepped up in that way. Also nominated Brian Mackus, who is our STEM Center supervisor, for the wonderful work that he has done to continue to have STEM Center available for our students. Nominated too is Trina Larson, who's done a remarkable job in terms of her leadership with our Mesa Fellows program for Mesa Pathways. Trina, congratulations. As Isabel mentioned earlier, thank you for the grant that you applied for. Almost always on this list, but this time for a new project, Joel Arias, our web developer for his Mesa Pathways onboarding and career exploration work group, but also building our career interest survey. Thank you, Joel, for that. Also, our wonderful Johanna Alaman, our basic needs coordinator. She has been, again, remarkable in keeping all the balls in the air that it takes to work with our local communities, for our students, for housing, and for food insecurity. So thank you so much for that work. Also nominated is Caitlin Choi. Caitlin goes above and beyond to help faculty find resources and unique curriculum experiences for students. And so thank you, Caitlin, for that work. Also, last but not least, we have some folks that show up every single time we do a farmer's market or one of our food distributions. So thank you to Roger Gallegos, to faculty member Michael Cox, to Moko Okubo Kuo, to Anastasia Doan, to Jennifer Park, and to Gabe Adana. You have all been there for so many of these distributions, and we appreciate that you show up whether it's raining or super hot or whatever else it might be. So thank you for that hard work. So those are all of the nominees. At some point, we will figure out a way to get a picture of all of you with your Olympian Spirit Award around your neck. And so we appreciate you and want you to know that each semester we await these nominations. And so if someone's gone above and beyond and you would like to recognize them, please send them on forward. The next time we will do this will be in August at Fall Convocation, when it's my very dear wish that we will all be together. So with that, what we are going to do now is we are going to celebrate a department that innovatively moved into a remote environment and show you a little bit of what you can see in terms of a mosaic tile, and then we'll come back and close out. So with the next slide, enjoy this beautiful trailer for Mesa Dance.
Hi, my name is Blythe Barton, and along with the wonderful Donna Flournoy, we are Mesa Dance. For many, this year has been a year of revolution and evolution. The arts have always been an outlet for expression and are a reflection of our society and our individuality. Dance at Mesa has adapted to the challenges presented this year and through great perseverance has risen above. In our shift to asynchronous online classes, dance has, in many ways, become more accessible to our populations. Students are now able to train with our incredible faculty through live interactions and through recorded content, allowing a community of movers to form. We are still dancing, and we're still dancing together. One of our greatest innovations was to create a digital dance concert where we, with extreme safety measures, filmed 40 dancers in Balboa Park. Our faculty choreographers tapped into their imagination and incorporated the video camera into their creative sphere. We were inspired by the hope, by the struggles, and by the resilience of our students, and did our best to capture their joy and their talent in this film. We hope you enjoy this short trailer, and you can always take a peek at the full show with our YouTube link.
In conclusion, Blythe and I would like to invite you to share your inspirations. An inspiration can be a moment, a quote, a song, a photo, or just anything that makes your heart beat faster. Please place your ideas in the Padlet link. And folks, let's all continue to dream, to create, and to share art together. Now, ready, set, and go.
All right, we'll move on to our next slide. So in the words of Donna Flournoy, we are definitely ready to go. I hope you enjoyed that wonderful short vignette from Mesa Dance. The level of creativity that was expressed was just so inspirational. Thank you to Blythe and to Donna for providing that to us. This semester, I hope that you will take the kind of spirit of creativity and resilience that you just saw in that beautiful video, and from the things that you've heard this morning, and from the tiles that you will create as part of our learning mosaic, the ones that you will view and the ones that you will create will all be part of being the leading college of equity and excellence. Continue to think about your own call to action, your using of your privilege and agency to advance the work that is so important to all of us. Look this semester for more information about our ethnic studies work, our work around this work in terms of anti-Blackness and racial inequality. Look for updates on Mesa 2030. Look for pictures of the quad. It's looking pretty amazing. We also had a sighting of some guy with mittens in the middle of the quad. We're not sure what that's about. But there are still things happening on the Mesa. We're keeping it real, we're keeping it safe so that when we're all back here together, we're ready to go. So with that, congratulations on a wonderful new semester ahead. For those of you that are still prepping, we hope you'll be inspired by some of what you've seen this morning. And thank you so much for all that you do for Mesa and our community. With that, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.